I'd like for all of you to join in welcoming Gene Wilder and Robert Osborne to the 92nd Street Y stage.
Thank you, Tim. It's a great honor for me to be here with him because I admire Gene so much. And I met him, I think, about, 10 years ago, 10 or 12 years ago in Atlanta.
That's right.
And we've socialized some since then. But one thing we never talk about is his career or movies. So it's a great treat for me tonight to ask some questions and have a conversation with Gene about that career. One thing I would like to ask you, what do you think, I want to start this by asking you, what's the biggest misconception people have about you?
Well, what a comic, what a funny guy, all that stuff, and I'm not. I'm really not, except in a comedy, in films. But I make my wife laugh once or twice in the house, but nothing special. But when people see me in a movie, and if it's funny, then they stop and say things to me about how funny you are. But I don't think I'm that funny. I think I can be in the movies, but anyway, I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. Before we get into the life with Mel Brooks and the other people you've worked with, I wanted to bring up the point that you haven't made a movie in 22 years, I think it is, and you've done very little acting lately. And why is that?
That's a very good question. And no, but I'll tell you why, because
I think we're all curious.
The swearing and the loud, the bombing, and after a while I said, well, they were dirty, and once in a while a good film, but not very many. I don't mean this when I was just starting out, but later on.
Sure.
And I said, I don't know, I don't want to. If something comes along that's really good, and I think I would be good for it, I'd be happy to do it. But not too many came along. I mean, they came along for the first, I don't know what I did, 15, 18 films, but I didn't do that many. But then I didn't want to do the kind of junk that I was seeing. I didn't want to do 3D, for instance. I didn't want to do ones where it's just bombing and loud and swearing, so much swearing going on. You know, someone said, "Oh, go fuck yourself." Well, if it came into a meaningful place, I understand it. But if you go to some of the movies, I don't want to say which ones, but when they're swearing, I can't say day and night, I could just say most of the screen has got it. Can't they just stop and talk? Just talk instead of swearing. And once in a while, it comes in handy, but not running all the way through the film. And that put me off a lot.
So do you miss that outlet? The acting part of it?
I like writing books.
I know, and you've written this new one.
Yeah.
Number 6, isn't this?
This is, yeah.
Number 6, yes.
Yeah, no, this is 5. I've got 6 waiting.
Oh, okay.
I've already finished it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm working on number 7, but that's number 5.
Now, your first movie was Bonnie and Clyde.
That's it.
And a spectacular performance in that.
Thank you. Oh,
really
thank
spectacular.
you. Thank you.
And again, so funny.
Yeah.
So funny.
They didn't expect me to be funny. And they told me afterwards, we didn't think you were going to play it that way. I said, well, did you want me to change it? No, no, we liked it. It was good that you did it like that. But I thought, I don't want to just try and be straight as an arrow. I wanted to be funny. And it worked.
So that's what you brought to the party on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did.
that was great.
Thank you.
And things were never the same after that. And then your next movie came, Producers.
Yeah.
So with Mel Brooks.
Yes. That was the one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that a difficult movie to make?
For him or for me?
For you. For you.
No, it wasn't difficult. I liked it so much, and I knew what he was going for, and dancing with Zero Mostel is very interesting.
Since we're talking about Mel Brooks, let's go on to the next one you did, the Young Frankenstein. And tell it, yeah, great film. But I would really love you to tell the genesis of that, because people do tend to think that was basically a Mel Brooks script and a Mel Brooks production. So kind of tell that history, which I think is fascinating.
I was sitting in my apartment, and on television, I was seeing, I don't know if I was seeing one of the Frankenstein pictures or not, I don't know, but I started writing 2 pages about what I would like to see it become. I wanted to make it a happy ending. And I did. And my agent called me, Mike Medavoy, and he said, I wanted to do a film with you and Marty Feldman and Peter Boyle. I said, what makes you say that? Because I now am the agent for you and Peter and... And I said, well, I do have something, but I want to add another page or 2. He said, well, go ahead. And I wrote the Transylvania Station verbatim the way it is in the movie. And I sent it to him, and he said, oh, good, and we can get Mel Brooks to direct it. I said, no, he won't direct something he didn't think of. The next day, phone rang, it was Mel. He said, what are you getting me into? I said, nothing that you don't want to get into. He said, I don't know. Now, he had done 2 films that he worked 2 years on each one, and he made $50,000 for one and $50,000 for the other. And now he was offered $275,000 if he would direct this one. And
the other ones were ones that he had written and directed and everything,
yeah.
And they didn't do well at the box office, right?
No. So he did it. And we had a really wonderful time.
So let's talk a little about Willy Wonka, another one of the great Gene Wilder movies. How did that come into your life?
The director, Mel Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the Plaza Hotel. I saw him with the producer and so. And I came out to the elevator. It was on the 3rd floor, and he ran out. Mel did. Mel Stewart did.
Yes.
And he said, don't take anything. Don't do anything. I'll call you in a little while. And he came to see me in the apartment I had. And he said, what do you think? Because he gave me the script. I said, it's very good, but there's something missing. And if I play that part, I want to come out with a cane, and that something's wrong with my leg, and come down the stairs slowly, and then have the cane stick into one of the bricks that are down there, and then get up, start to fall over, then roll around, and then they all laugh and they applaud, and what do you want to do that for? I said, because from that time on, no one will know whether I'm lying or telling the truth. And he said, okay, I'll give it a try. And then we went to Germany, did it. I did that scene, and he came out the next morning after he saw what was made, and he said, the boss says, I love it. It's great. And I said, well, what would have happened if he didn't like it? He said, well, then we wouldn't do it. Because you did that one take you did where you didn't fall and be crippled or anything like that. I said, well, that's business, film business. I should never have said I'll do it one time without the thing. Anyway, Willy Wonka worked very well.
It did.
Yeah, oddly enough.
And still does.
Yeah, and still does.
Holds up beautifully.
But not right away. It was, I think, a year.
Hmm.
And then it caught on, and it was wonderful.
Do people mention it a lot when they meet you?
I get 5 mails, I would say 5 a day, not Saturday or Sunday, asking me to, I love you, you're wonderful, so and so, would you sign this for me? And I do it, but it piles up. But it's all because they saw Willy Wonka. And sometimes it's someone who's 12 years old, sometimes it's 21 years old, sometimes it's 34 years old, but they want to have it signed, a picture and a signature. And they provide the signature. I mean, they provide it.
Wow.
The picture. And so that's Willy Wonka. But they stop me all the time with that one.
You don't work in Hollywood. You didn't work in Hollywood too often.
No.
How do you feel about working in Hollywood?
Yuck. I
And
don't like it. I just
Why
don't.
not? They're not going to sue you.
I wouldn't mind if they did. For the same reason I told you about why I don't like films, unless they're really good.
Let's talk a little about your association with Richard Pryor. 'Cause
Yeah.
But the end results were so good.
Yeah.
But were they difficult to make with him? Because he was a complicated fellow.
Let's see. The first one was very good. We got along really swell.
That was Silver Streak,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But when we did the one in jail,
Stir crazy.
yeah, it was stir crazy, wasn't it? Anyway, he'd come in 15 minutes late, 30 minutes late, 45 minutes late, an hour late. Sydney was going nuts because it was an hour and a half travel to get to the prison that we were working in. And Richard would walk in bouncing happily, hugging, give me a hug and everything. And Sydney, I think, would have been afraid to cancel him because he would ruin the whole picture. And I was trying to make him feel happy that we all like him, love him, but it wasn't easy when he was on something. And then we did another film, and he was beautiful, fine, not on anything all through.
Was that See No Evil? Hear
Yeah.
No Evil? Okay.
And then I heard he had a heart, I don't know if to call it an attack or not, but he wanted to smoke. And the doctor said, I'm telling you, if you smoke, you're going to die. Don't smoke. And when I went to see him, he had his cigarettes and a lighter, because he couldn't walk without stumbling. He couldn't really do much, except he knew how to put the cigarette into his mouth, and he knew how to light the light. And that was sad. I didn't know what I could tell him about it, but except I told him, but I didn't know what I could say that would stop him from smoking cigarettes when he's got this situation. Anyway, when he was good, he was wonderful. When he was bad, he was awful. But not in his acting, but in his throwing things away, throwing the time away, the hours away, and keeping everyone waiting and all that sort of thing. That was terrible. Then when he was really funny, it was wonderful. So, what can you do? Give him a hit and then give him a kiss.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. We're going to get some of your questions now to answer.
There you are, my dear.
Oh, great. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Wait. Oh,
If you're afraid.
Okay. This one's easy. Happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Aside from your comedic acting, writing talents, your speaking voice is the most soothing and comforting music.
Gee.
It is pure It is pure coziness. Would you consider narrating your novels in an audiobook version?
I have twice.
Great, great. That's good to hear. Well, some of these have things on both sides. So, are there any recent or current comedy films and TV shows you enjoy in particular? What are your favorite comedic actors and writers? That's a good question.
Well, I don't love Woody Allen's all the time, but when they're good, they're just sensational.
Yeah.
I love them. I mean, just seeing Midnight in Paris, for instance, I say, how can you do better than that?
Yeah.
It was wonderful. What was the rest of it?
That was it. Who are your favorite comedic actors
Yeah.
and writers? Any recent, current, or comedy films and TV? How about TV shows? Comedy shows? Any you particularly enjoy?
The ones that I like, Sugi, what's the name of it? Judi Dench. I love her.
Oh, As Time Goes By?
As time goes by.
Yeah, I love that show.
And I would want to be in a movie with her.
Yeah.
And I've told my agent that. But, you know, she's working all the time.
Just finished a play in London again.
Yeah.
Do you all know that show, As Time Goes By? It's on Channel 13. Yeah, it's really lovely. Are you bothered by remakes of classic films of yours like Willy Wonka, Charlie, and the Chocolate Factory?
I think it's an insult. And it's probably Warner Brothers' insult, I think. I like Warner Brothers for other reasons, but to do that with Johnny Depp, who who I think is a good actor, and I like him, but I don't care for that director. And he's a talented man, but I don't care for him for doing stuff like he did.
Can you tell us a story about working with Cleavon Little on Blazing Saddles, and how your rapport was so natural?
Richard Pryor was one of the writers for that. And what was the film?
The Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, he was one of the writers.
Okay.
And then one day he didn't show up with the other writers, and Mel couldn't figure out what happened to him, and he got a call, and it was Richard. He said, "Richard, where are you?" He said, "In Cleveland." He said, "What are you doing in Cleveland?" He said, "I don't know." Well, Richard was supposed to play the sheriff in Blazing Saddles, and Warner Brothers said, "No, he's on stuff, and we can't take a chance." And they got Cleavon, and I got along really well with him. I liked him a lot. He was honest, and he understood it, and I thought he was wonderful.
Mm-hmm. What was the part that Gig Young was supposed to play in Blazing Saddles? Your part?
My part.
Ah.
Yeah, but Mel hired him. He put on makeup, costume, and as they were walking towards the jail cell, Gig started, I wasn't there, I heard this. Foam started coming out.
Oh, he's the one you were talking about then.
He was the one,
Okay.
with foam coming out more and more. And Mel, thinking about the Lee Strasberg and the Actors Studio, he said, "Keep doing what you're doing." He thought that it was work that he was, and then they had to call an ambulance and
Right.
carry him out. He goes to the phone. Mel went to the phone, called me, and said, "Could you, would you?" And I was on a plane the next day and upside down in the jail cell the
Right.
next day.
That's such a sad story about Gig Young, because
Yeah.
he was such a good actor and a bit of a drinking problem.
Yeah, it was.
Who came up with fat in the producers? And would you come on my podcast, whoever that is? You better be careful.
Come on, you're what?
We'll go on over that later.
Now, wait now. What's the first part of it?
In the movie The Producers, who
Yeah.
came up with you saying the line fat
Fat, fat, fat. Yeah, that was Mel.
in the script, okay?
I may have added 2 fats, but
Okay, and we have another one, you've kind of already answered it. Who makes you laugh? Tell us about Gilda Radner.
well, let's see. She was always funny, and she loved doing what she was doing. She made fun of me when I didn't know who, what's her name? You know, Rosanna Dana.
Oh.
I didn't know who it was.
Ah,
And she laughed so that you don't know, you never saw I said, "No, I didn't. I'm sorry, I didn't see it." Then she made me see every one of the ones she did because she had it all written down, printed out. And I saw those films, and she was wonderful. And then she got sick. You know, she and we got married in 1984, and she died in 1989. And but she tried hard, in those first 3 years, and then didn't go. She had too much pain, operations, and she kept thinking that I'll get better after this one, well, I'll get better after this one, and all that. And then it didn't work.
Made such an indelible impression on all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite movies was The Frisco Kid. Did you enjoy making that film?
I
That
did.
is a good movie.
I did enjoy that one a lot. It was funny because I could be very serious and I could be funny. Mm-hmm. And I like doing the two of them like that. And I was with two rabbis and someone who sang the parts, and I learned to sing in Hebrew what it was that I was going to have to sing later on.
Because you're playing a rabbi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I liked it a lot. It was very good. And Harrison Ford was wonderful. He and I got along just like day and night. It was wonderful. No, I mean, you think...
Yeah, I'd explain that.
I explain it this way. You work all day, and then you say goodbye. Or you work at night, and then you say goodbye. Or you work all day, and then you play darts, and you go to some beer and whatever. And we had fun at night, and we had fun during the day, and playing on the horses and things like that. And I liked him, and we got along.
Good actor. And you're a brilliant actor.
Yes, thank you
and
very
I can't
much.
tell you how we appreciate you doing this, because I know it's not something that you love doing. But thank you for your time and your great work. Absolutely. I also want to say, I also want to thank all of you for being such a nice audience and for the questions and for being here and welcoming Gene and me, and to tell you about something to remember you by, Gene's book, and he's going to be in the lobby signing them. So thanks so much for being here tonight.
Thank you.